Chapter 3 ended us off with an explosive finale. Landmasses from all across the Omniverse were ripped from their realities and merged together to create Asteria. The result? Chapter 4. This brought in many new exciting characters like Doomslayer and The Witcher, but one stands out. He goes by many names, but we know him as Geno. There's a lot to uncover about this character and his past, so let's jump right into it. Actually, hold that thought. I need to clear up a misconception first. With the reveal of the Ageless and the seemingly medieval theme of this season, many believe we're currently in the past, but we're not. These realities might be in the past since the time of them relative to our present time is way back, but their arrival doesn't mean we're all in the past. Pieces of our island and the people that arrived with it, like the Ageless, are indeed from the past, but we are not back in time. This is the present. We just welcome the past to it. Alright, video time. With the launch of Chapter 4, right from the get-go, we have what looks to be Geno front and center in our chapter key art. It's left many wondering, wasn't he busy reforming himself across realities from the little itty-bitty pieces he was split into during the events of Collision? Why and how is he here? Well, to start things off, let's look at him and his cosmetics. First thing to note is the Ageless's description, the snapshot left to rule an empire. This already solidifies several things. The Ageless is a snapshot of Geno, and it seems a long time ago, Geno brought him to his home reality to take care of his empire while he went off and did other things. I'd assume that'd be studying the 0 point. Let's back up a bit. This chapter gives us a ton of backstory. Geno grew up in seemingly medieval times. He was either born into a wealthy family that had an empire, or he built it from the ground up himself, which seems the most likely. Eventually, somehow, he ended up getting trapped in the loop. Being back in medieval days and being the future creator of the imagined order, we can assume there weren't likely many in the loop at that time since the IO hadn't been created yet. So Geno, taken from his empire, finds himself in the loop. Eventually, he escapes, and with that, he discovers that snapshots are created. His fascination grows, and he creates a way to bring his snapshot back with him to his reality. Geno, extremely curious about the 0 point and its capabilities, leaves the snapshot behind, the Ageless, to rule his empire while he sets out to study the 0 point. Now, while the extreme details about that story are purely theoretical, it's still crazy how much information we can get from just one description. Geno lived in medieval times, and upon getting trapped in loop and escaping, he brought his snapshot back to rule his homeland while he got to work in Reality 0. This opens up some very interesting ideas though. If Geno left his reality to go study the 0 point, how was the imagined order born? If the Ageless and his empire are from the past, how is it here now? Well, it seems the 0 point can not only reach out to other realities, but also through time. We've seen this before though, with old locations reoccurring and remixed POIs making returns throughout the years. It's completely possible for the big glowy orb of all creation to be able to stretch through time too. With that being said, we've got a perfect example right here. The Zero fusion that Paradigm initiated resulted in the 0 point reaching out to Geno's home reality very far back in the past. We're witnessing Geno's origins right here on the island, all while our Geno is still stitching himself back together across realities, which only means one thing. We are going to watch the imagined order be created. And believe it or not, the beginnings have already begun. Quests and dialogue with many characters have revealed that the Ageless rules an empire by the name of the Oathbound. This could very well be the beginning of the imagined order and where it came from in the first place. It even seems the symbols corresponding with its future logo are already appearing, both on the Ageless's armor and in his castle. I'll show pictures up on screen. You can see the 0 point swirl that makes up the central part of the future IO logo. If you think about it, this makes sense. This early idea of the IO Geno had was completely based on the 0 point and his fascination with it. It doesn't have the 6 logos that represent the different branches, it's just the 0 point. Later on, as his power and following grows, the other 6 symbols will get added to represent branches being created. So the Ageless is already giving us solid evidence that the imagined order's roots are planted here, but there's even more. During the end event of Chapter 2, we dropped down into one of the bunkers on the island that led to the IO corridors. We arrived in a staging area, presumably for guards to gear up and move to the surface. But the interesting thing is that it's completely made of stone. It looks medieval. The peculiar thing about this is that the rest of the complex is highly advanced, but these staging areas on the outer ends of the complex aren't. In the 0 Point comics, Batman even talks about these areas looking to show evidence of several generations. Looks like we finally got our answer as to why. Aside from our little bits of evidence here and there, Donald Mustard just flat out told us this on Twitter. He told us that what we're experiencing today is so much closer to Epic's earliest imagined order than ever before. Besides him directly telling us that we're experiencing Fortnite's earliest vision of what this faction could look like, thinking back on our early seasons of Chapter 1 show us that this is absolutely true. Our very first battle pass was medieval. That was the introduction of the Blue Squire, the Black Knight, and a few more. It seems like Fortnite wanted to head in the medieval direction from the beginning, and so they weave that idea into the origins of the imagined order, and now we can finally witness it firsthand. So to sum it up for you, we could very well see the IO begin to form over the course of the season, or even throughout the chapter. But what is the Ageless' plan exactly? Well, during our first set of Oathbound quests, which is this season's story quests, it's revealed by Amy that there's a strange ore on the island called kinetic ore that we've never seen before on previous maps. And the Ageless is actually searching the island for this and having it all brought to the island's quarry, Shattered Slabs. We don't know what exactly he wants with this, but based on its characteristics, it does seem like kinetic ore has something to do with cubes and the 0 point. The Ageless could very well be using the ore to make weapons and to grow his empire's power, like he seemingly already has been since his hammer uses it. I'll be sure to make a video about the kinetic ore in full detail, as it seems the Ageless is going to be using it soon to build something. The last thing about the Ageless' story that should be mentioned is the Rift Warden. Scrap Knight Jules, an NPC on the island who works with the Oathbound, says to the Ageless when you're wearing his outfit, "It's an honor to be working with your Rift Warden, your majesty." Clearly, this is an important character, and I'm very excited to see who they end up being. That's it for today, Reapers. I appreciate you for sticking to the end, and I'm hyped to see where the story goes from here. Subscribe if you enjoyed, and share the video with friends if you think they'd like to get caught up. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, keep it reaping.